This is Silver Dave. I'm Dave and I'm talking silver today. Yeah, a lot of things have been happening to silver past week. We saw a heavy correction on the price of silver. We were at almost $30 an ounce. Now we are below $23 an ounce today. And I want to talk about a bit what you should do and what I think about the situation. I mean, I don't want to talk too much about future pricing because I don't have a crystal ball and I don't know what will happen with silver. I have some personal opinions on what I think might happen, but I'm not your financial advisor and I don't want to make this channel about finance. So what happened to silver? Well, it went down. It went down by quite a lot. It went down to almost $22 at a certain point. It was very close to going below $22. It's my energy drink. Like this brand. Sunday, I always have a small drink. Personal pleasure. Some caffeine to get me going. So at $22 for an ounce of silver, and for a lot of people buying physical silver, what do you think happened? Well, premium stayed up. Online, I had a hard time finding silver for under, I would say, $28. I was not finding any deals under $28 until I managed to meet somebody who was willing to offload their silver for $25. So about $3 above spot. These Australian koalas from 2009. Very good condition coins. I would call this brand new stock, never left their packaging. Individually capsuled and was wrapped. So very, very, very nice coins. High relief, high definition. Sorry about that. So high relief, high definition coins, selling for about $3 over spot. That's a 15% premium. So what do I think is happening to physical silver? Well, I think that when silver went up like very, very quickly to reach the $28, $29 point, a lot of people thought that they needed to get some silver. And there was a lot of channels hyping up this like bull run, $50 silver, by end of the year, $40 silver. And I do believe that a lot of people, it drove up demand for physical silver. And it drove up demand not in the good way. It drove up demand in that it wasn't gradual. It was a lot of like panic buying, and a lot of your dealers suddenly just jacked up premiums. They didn't have stock and they wanted to be able to sell at the best price they could. So they jacked up premiums on their silver coin. And but once the correction happened, I've seen that a lot of people, especially on sites like eBay or your local whatever secondhand like sort of auction sites, a lot of people start bidding on the bids. That's how I managed to get these for $25, because there was a ongoing auction that was set up before the crash, and it was supposed to end afterwards. And the second the crash happened, all the bidders disappeared. And I was like, okay, $25, I'm going to buy silver. I'm buying silver every single month. It's the cheapest one out there, so I bought it. But when I bought the silver, I have a funny story. Is the person who had the silver had 1 kilo more of silver. I bought 10 ounces here. So there's 1, 2, 3, there's 3 by 3. And you can see they're all koalas, brand new, same package, same year. 10 ounces, 25 each. Okay, but this person had 1 kilo more of silver. And I was like, whoa, you're trying to flip a kilo more of silver? A kilo is 1,000 grams. 1 ounce is 31.1 grams. That's more than 33, yeah, that's like 33 grams of 33 ounces of silver that they need to like offload. And I'm like, that's gonna be hard, man. Spot drop, experienced buyers probably won't pay your premium. They were trying to sell it to me at I think $29 an ounce, and spot that day was 22. I was like, that's way too much of a premium. Like, you just sold me 10 ounces for 25 and you're saying you want 29. So yeah, I think yeah, people, it's going to scare off a lot of the newcomers in the silver buying process. I just have to say that silver tends to be volatile. It goes up and down like many things. But silver, unlike stocks, it can't go bankrupt. There's always demand for silver, and silver is a natural commodity. It's a resource. It's a government independent currency. It's bullion. It has industrial uses. So it's a relatively safe investment. There is essentially nothing in this universe that, in practical terms, conducts electricity better. So there's always inherent value in modern society for silver. And yeah, so it's a very safe bet. So if you buy silver today, even if you bought like, logically, even if you bought at the high point at like $29 an ounce, right? You might be taking a bath in the next 5 years, next 10 years maybe. But if you bought at like when you're 30 and you plan on keeping your silver, because silver doesn't rot. I mean, it doesn't react to oxygen. It reacts to sulfur. So it doesn't rust. It doesn't rot. It doesn't corrode. If you put it in a dry place in capsules, it just keeps its state. So, you know, that's why it's a precious metal. That's why it has value. It can store value over time. And it's one of its inherent natural properties. This is such a beautiful high definition coin. Yeah, can't believe I got it for $3 over spot. Anyways, yeah, so if you bought silver today and you're like, I don't know, 25, 27, 28, 30, and you hold that silver until you're 30, you're now losing money. Even if you bought it at the highest point today, it's very unlikely you'll lose money. More likely you would have preserved your purchasing power if you kept buying, like over time, every single month. You're buying a specific amount every time you get your paycheck. You divide that paycheck into your different parts. You say, these are your living expenses. Typically, I try to keep my living expenses around 1/3 of my paycheck. And then I have a rainy day fund, which I use 1/3 of my paycheck. And then I have 1/3 of my paycheck going into what I call going to investables. So either it's split between silver and gold, silver and certain cryptocurrencies, silver and certain collectible assets, physical assets, could be real estate. So I have my division in my sort of income, and I buy consistently different types of investable products. So if you do that and you do it over time, silver is not a bad option to have in your like monthly spend on investments. So I wouldn't even call it a spend. I just call it like, you know, living a bit under your means and using your capital to work for you. And silver, it doesn't really work for you, but it does preserve your purchasing power. And yes, it's volatile in the short term, but in the long term, the risk is relatively low. Silver cannot default on you. Silver cannot go bankrupt like a company. Silver cannot perform bad accounting practices or lie on its balance sheet. That's like, that's not possible. It doesn't do that. Stocks can. Governments can decide to print money one day to the next. Government can go into wars. governments can default on their bonds. It's horrible for a government to default on their bond, but they can do that. Yeah, silver doesn't do that. The only time when maybe silver will become useless is if we discover a better conductor for electricity at a cheaper price. And that's more practical to put into implementation. And that doesn't corrode, and that doesn't that's relatively ductile, that we can make into wires and that can be reshaped. It has to have all the properties of silver and better. And we know pretty much all of the whole periodic table. There's some newer elements, but most of the elements are known in our universe. Yes, we have certain structures that are more like conductive. We have superconductors, but typically any superconductor you use, it will need to be cooled to sub-zero temperatures. Typically, most practical use superconductors are the ones that are sub-nitrogen levels, which means that they are minus 173 degrees Celsius. And to give you an idea of how cold that is, yeah, it's really cold. And you will not survive in such a temperature. You will freeze to death instantly if you go into minus 173 degrees Celsius. That is how cold it is. The other superconductors need to be near absolute zero, where no atoms move. That's when they become superconductors. So it's absolutely not practical. If you think about it, the only element we have that approaches that and that we use to cool these superconductors is typically liquid helium before we use liquid nitrogen. And liquid helium is expensive. It's by weight, buying liquid helium used in the 90s was more than gold. So that gives you an idea of how expensive it was to make for just a few minutes something into a superconducting state. Silver is an extremely low resistance material at room temperature, at temperatures where we actually live. It's the best conductor. And yeah, there really isn't anything better than that. And it has so many other properties that are favorable to electronics manufacturing, such as you need silver paste to build your integrated power circuit boards. Like, you can't build it without silver. So I think it's a very, very safe investment. It's kind of like a technology play, if you wanted to think about it like that. I think with coronavirus, we're going to see more consumption of electronics, more connected devices. Coronavirus accelerated a lot of digital transformations very quickly because people suddenly realized that, oh, actually, we've been forced to home office, but home officing doesn't actually decrease productivity. It just saves on office space and office rent. But it puts a lot of pressure on public networks in that they need to suddenly upgrade their infrastructure. And guess what? Well, how do you upgrade infrastructure? Well, for one, you lay down cables. But for the second thing is, in order to increase bandwidth, you have to have servers to process all these requests coming in. So yeah, this stuff, silver. This is required to make all those new servers. Each server, each phone has between 1 to 2 grams of silver. And if you think about it, and telephone companies haven't upgraded infrastructure in 20 to 30 years. If you have to globally upgrade all infrastructure all across the globe so that everybody can telecommute, yeah, that's a lot of consumption. And if we have, if all the central banks start doing quantitative easing, you have inflationary prices, and then you have fiscal policy, and they start giving loans to companies, and especially loans to telecommunication companies to upgrade their infrastructure, you're going to see a spike in demand for silver. So in the long term, I think we're going to hit a new plateau, like a new level for silver demand, and that will drive up silver prices. That's long term. I can't tell you what will be the new price for silver in like 30 years because nobody can. If somebody thinks they can, it's they're kind of like making it up. I don't want to use, I don't want to swear, you know, it's pretty bull. Like if they can tell you like silver is going to $50 by the end of the year, sometimes they're right, sometimes they're wrong. Usually people that do that, it's the hype train, and don't jump too quickly on it. I say like if somebody tells you like silver's going to go up, buy a bit of silver, buy a bit every single month. Try and find deals. There are definitely deals out there. Don't overpay too much, and keep stacking. This is Silver Dave. And if you like the content, feel free to subscribe. And yeah, I'll be posting videos a little bit more regularly. I've been trying to get like this sort of thing, a sort of rhythm going, and I think I've kind of found it. It'll probably be 1 to 2 videos a week, maybe 3 if I have time. And thank you for watching. Peace out.